Hi guys, welcome to episode 3 of Warlords of Erehwon intro week. So I managed to get a unit of skeletons together. They're really nice, really strange, the actual feet, you can see the bar between the feet. The feet actually come separate, so you put the legs onto the feet, which is a bit strange, but I really like the poses. So I managed to get a unit of 5 done, all with spears. So I'll show you all 5 of them. And this is my leader with his arm out pointing. Get them over there! Whether he can actually speak is another thing, because he's got no lungs to make words, but there you go. I'll put his shield on his back. So they've all got spears and shields. Okay. So what I'll do is now just get the orcs out and we'll have a look at close combat. Okay guys, so we're getting more into the mechanics of how you need to play now. Because we've got a unit for each side, we now need a different colour order dice for each side. Obviously use a white one for the skeletons and green for orcs. Then we need some different coloured D10s. Not really going to be necessary for this demo because there's not any different weapons within the units. They've all got the same weapons and pin markers. Although these are rotating, and they've got numbers 1 to 12 on them, I'm just going to use a single marker to represent one pin. That way it's easier to see. They've got 2 pins, whereas that one, it's 1, but it could be on 12 or it could be on 5. You can't tell. So I'm just going to use single pin marker to represent a single pin. So that would be 3 pins. Okay, so move these out the way, as is always the case. Your dice go in the bag, so we'll shake and we'll pull out and see who goes first, and the scores on the draws are here's the skeletons. So of course they're going to charge because that's what we're doing. So to charge you use a run order. Now you can run or sprint, but if you sprint you have to do the agility test before you resolve any combat, so you could end up with a pin before you go into combat, which is not really a good idea. So they're just going to run. So they can run up to 10 inches, and look at that, as if by magic they're within range. So they charge up. Okay. Now before we do the close combat, there's what they call an exchange of missiles. Now if your unit is able to shoot, i.e. bows or whatever, then they can have a round of shooting beforehand. Now obviously the orcs can't because they're armed with close combat weapons, but the skeletons can, because the spears can be used in the exchange of missiles phase. So 1 dice each, and we roll against their accuracy. Now the skeletons have an accuracy of 5, so I need to roll, I've got 5 dice, 1 for each. I need to roll 5 or less on these dice. Give them a quick shake and boom, I've got 6, 9, 9, 10, a 4. So 1 hit. So now the orc player allocates that hit to who he wants. I'm going to put the hit onto the leader, because the leader has the tough special roll, which means he gets to re-roll a failed res test. Now the spear has a strike value of 1, So that means his resist would normally be 6, it's down to 5. So I need to roll a 5 or less. It's a 7. Because it's my leader, I have a reroll. I can reroll it. 2. He's fine. However, it does cause a pin. Okay. So that's the exchange of missiles bit done, because the orcs don't have any missiles to fire back, so they can't do it. Now we do the fighting bit. So what I'll do is, now it's done simultaneously, so whatever happens this time, it happens for both anyway. So any casualties will still get to do their attacks. So because this skellies have attacked, I'll do their attacks first. Now in close combat, you roll against your strength. So skeletons have a strength of 5. So 5 hits, 1 each. Here we go. And I've got 1 5. That's 1 hit. Again, we'll put it on the orc, get a pin. Put it on the orc leader because he gets his reroll. Again, strike value 1, so it's a 5 or less. And he makes it. So he's fine. Now it's time for the orcs to fight back. The orc warriors have a strength of 6, but also for this example we've got swords, which gives them +1 strength, so they're at strength 7. So the hit will be done at 7 or less, and let's roll. So we've got a 9 there, which is no good. We'll look at 4 hits. So 1 on the leader, and then 1 on these 3 guys. Now the skeletons have a resist of 6, and a sword have a strike value of 1, so that knocks it back down to 5. So it's 5. So I can roll these 3 together because they're all the same. So I need 5 or less on these 3. So that's a 6 and a 9. So that's 2 dead. Cause a pin as well. And the leader, he's okay. There's the pin. So that was heavy. Skeletons have lost 2 guys. When you work out the result of the close combat, the unit that has the highest number of pins is the loser. So although the orcs managed to kill 2 of the skeletons, they've got 2 pins, the skeletons only got 1, so the orcs have actually lost the combat, which is strange, but there you go. So because the orcs have lost the combat, they have to take a break test, which means they have to roll under their command value minus the number of pins. So the command value is 7, minus 2 is 5, so that means the orcs need to roll a 5 or less, and they roll a 9. So they failed. Because they failed, they suffer D6 additional pins. So here we go. 2 extra pins. So they're now on 4 pins. If the total number of pins is less than the command value, then the unit is routed and they make a run order away. So all the dice comes out of the bag and you get a run order, and you move full distance away from the enemy. Taking the pins with them. But with 4 pins, they're not going to be doing much anyway. Now, the skeletons can consolidate. Our consolidate move is as if you've had an advanced order, so you can move 5 inches any direction you like. So let's go after them. And that's it. That's basic close combat. So tomorrow what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and get myself a set of archers together. I don't know whether they'll be orc or skeleton, but I haven't decided yet. Be the first box I open in the morning. And tomorrow we will do shooting.